All right, welcome back. Today we're diving into one of the biggest, and let's be honest, one of the toughest ideas from Emerson's self-reliance, nonconformity. So if you're ready to start questioning the crowd, let's get into it. I mean, of course you have, right? We've all been there. You're in a work meeting or maybe just hanging out with friends, and everyone's nodding along, so you do too. But inside, something just doesn't feel right. Your gut is practically screaming, no, that's not it. Well, it turns out Ralph Waldo Emerson was writing about that exact feeling almost 200 years ago. And what he had to say about it? Well, it's more relevant now than ever. So here's our game plan for today. First, we'll unpack what true nonconformity actually is. And trust me, it's probably not what you think. Then we're going to get real about the hidden cost of constantly trying to fit in. And to finish, I'll give you a super simple practice you can use to start hearing that inner voice of yours again. Okay, so first things first, what is this nonconformity thing really? Now, it's super important to get this right. Emerson wasn't just talking about being a rebel for the sake of it, being different just to stand out. Nope, it's something much, much deeper than that. At its core, it's all about courage. It's the courage to listen to and actually trust your own intuition, your gut feeling, over the constant noise of what everybody else expects from you. Emerson called it a gleam of light which flashes across his mind. It's about trusting that light, your own internal compass, especially when the world is trying to hand you a different one. It's integrity in its purest form. And this quote, wow, it just nails it. Trust thyself. Every heart vibrates to that iron string. Think about that for a second. That iron string, that's you. That's your authentic, unshakable core. Emerson's saying we each have this unique vibration, this personal frequency. Our job isn't to try and tune our instrument to match the rest of the orchestra. It's to have the guts to play our own song. He even had a special name for this inner voice, your genius. Now, he didn't mean genius like a super high IQ. This actually goes back to an ancient Roman idea, the belief that we each have a personal guiding spirit, a unique muse that's with us our whole lives. So your genius is your internal guide. And a nonconformist? That's simply someone who is devoted to listening to that voice above all the others. Okay, so if we all have this built-in genius, this inner guidance system, why on earth is it so incredibly hard to follow it? It should be easy, right? Well, Emerson had a very clear answer for that. Society itself. Let's dig in. Whoa, a conspiracy. That sounds pretty intense. But what Emerson really means here is that society, just by its very nature, pushes for us all to be the same. It wants obedience. It wants us to fall in line and be predictable. Because frankly, that makes things easier to manage. Real, messy individuality is complicated. Conformity is neat and tidy. And he uses this brilliant metaphor to explain it. He calls society a joint stock company. Think about it like this. We all invest a little piece of our individual freedom, our unique ideas, and in return, we get a dividend. We get the bread of security, social acceptance, a steady job, the comfort of not making waves. We trade our authenticity for comfort. So if we break it down, we conform because, well, we're scared. We're terrified of what Emerson calls the world's displeasure, that look of disapproval. We hate being the odd one out. We don't want to disappoint people. And there's this other thing. We're taught from a young age that being consistent is a great virtue. But Emerson is about to turn that whole idea completely on its head. But here's the catch. This trade-off we make, this security we get for conforming, it's not a free lunch. It comes at an enormous, enormous cost. So what is the real price we pay for fitting in? This might be one of his most famous lines. And man, it hits hard. Envy is ignorance. Imitation is suicide. Just let that sink in. When you're envying someone else, you're being completely ignorant of your own unique path and your own gifts. And when you actually start imitating them, you are, piece by piece, killing off the person you were truly meant to be. It's a kind of suicide of the soul. And just look at the stark difference here. On one side, conformity. Emerson says it makes you weaker. It falsifies your life, turning it into a performance. And it's the fast track to mediocrity. But on the other side, nonconformity. That strengthens you because it's real. It reveals who you truly are, and it's the only path to your own genius. An authentic life doesn't need to explain itself. It just is. And this gets right back to that pressure to always be consistent. Emerson says, a foolish consistency is the hobgoblin of a little minds. A hobgoblin, like a little monster that haunts us. He's saying that blindly sticking to your old opinions just to look consistent is a total trap. Truly great people, they grow, they change, they're not afraid to contradict themselves. In our world, you could call this the hobgoblin of personal branding. Emerson's advice? Just let it go. So this all sounds great in theory, but what does it actually look like in the real world? Who are the people who dared to live this way? Emerson points to history for the answer. Look at this list. Socrates, Jesus, Copernicus, Galileo, what do they all have in common? Every single one of them challenged the conventional wisdom of their day. They trusted their inner voice over what everyone else believed. And for that, they were ridiculed, condemned, and completely misunderstood. They paid the price, and in doing so, they changed the world. Which leads us to this incredible, empowering conclusion. To be great is to be misunderstood. This is such a huge mindset shift. It means that if you speak your truth and people just don't get it, you're not necessarily doing something wrong. You might actually be in very good company. Emerson reframes being misunderstood not as a failure, but as a potential signpost of greatness. Now, this is all incredibly inspiring, but how do we actually do it? How do we start tuning out all that noise and tuning into our own genius, especially when the world is louder than ever? Well, Emerson's work gives us a simple, powerful practice. Let's call it the nonconformity reset. It's just 3 simple steps. First, pause. Step away from your phone, from the news, from everyone's opinions. Find a moment of true solitude. Second, listen. Just ask yourself, what is my intuition, my genius, telling me about this? And third, honor it. Take one small action based on that insight. It doesn't have to be a huge revolutionary act, just one small step taken with integrity. And I want to be really clear about this. This is not a call to become a hermit and cut yourself off from the world. Not at all. It's actually about building relationships from a place of authenticity and strength, instead of from a needy place of wanting approval. It's funny, but the more you become your own person, the better you can connect with others. So let's do a quick recap. 1. True nonconformity is just authentic self-trust. 2. Society offers us a deal, our freedom for security, and it's a very costly trade. 3. Being misunderstood isn't a failure. It's often a sign you're on the path to greatness. And 4. You can start this journey right now with that simple 3-step reset. So I want to leave you with this question, a challenge really, that comes straight from Emerson. He wrote, "What I must do is all that concerns me, not what the people think." So I ask you, right now, in your life, what is the one thing that your genius is telling you that you must do? Thanks so much for digging into this with me today. In our next explainer, we'll continue our journey through self-reliance and explore Emerson's radical ideas on living fully in the present moment. I hope you'll join me for that. I'll see you then.